So, Superman and Lois review. I don't know what episode it is actually, in fairness, but it's this week's episode. I've been reviewing the show religiously, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been getting people to watch it who haven't, who basically turn a blind eye to it because it's the CW, which is a very, very fair point because the CW makes garbage. This, on the other hand, is mainly handled by HBO, and it shows. It's really good. And this week's episode was no different either. It's consistently good. In fact, it consistently gets better. Now, I'm going to just talk straight up spoilers because I don't want to review this episode non-spoilers. There's not actually that much to say in non-spoilers because straight from the off, because obviously we're building towards the end of the season, or at least like mid to end season. So there's nothing really that I can say. I will say this in as non-spoiler as possible. In this show, we have never, up until this point, seen a Superman origin story. Right? We have not seen his life and what happened and how he got here up until this point. And this was perfectly executed in the best way. Really the best way. And that's all I can say as non-spoilery as possible. I'm consistently impressed. I'm really going to be I'm looking forward to next week's episode now because they know how to build each and every single plot point to a great crescendo. It just leaves you wanting. You just want more and more and more and more. So go and watch it if you haven't. But let's talk spoilers now. Okay, let's talk spoilers. I probably won't be able to place an advert here because I don't know how long this video will be. But ladies and gents, you've been warned. Let's talk spoilers. So we obviously leave off from the last episode, which was Superman releasing a solar flare, right? Nice, cool to see him release a solar flare. Would have liked it to have been a bit more bombastic. I said it in that review, but whatever. And then he crash lands over in the Fortress of Solitude with the Eradicator. Now he heads there, presumably to give the Eradicator to his dad to do something with. I guess. I don't know. But we knew something wasn't right with him. He'd expended all of his energy, all of his power, and he sort of stumbled into the room. Like, we knew it was going to be bad. We just knew it. Okay, it's obvious. We open this episode with what I thought was genuinely like a flashback, right? We open this episode, probably the first 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes of this episode is literally Superman's life, right? And it was great. It was really good to see because the thing is, having it midway to the end of the season, when you've already grown to like these characters, just based on what you've seen, to then learn about his backstory, I'm more interested now. Like, I've seen I've seen it. We've all seen it like 1,000 bloody times, right? We've all seen this backstory. But seeing it now in this way, non-linearly, was just superb. But then you add the other sense into this, the other sort of point to this, is the fact that it was actually inbuilt into the narrative. Because we're not seeing flashbacks, we're not seeing his life. What we are seeing is his memories being sieved through by Morgan Edge, who has put a device on him and is literally going through his memories to learn everything about Kal-El that he can. That is incredibly smart. So you wait till one of the final episodes, well, presumably one of the final episodes, to do this sort of background origin story of him, right? Fill us in on all of his information. But then you inbuild it into the narrative as well, that Morgan Edge has done it. This is just fantastic writing. And because, the thing is because you've grown to like these characters at this current stage in their life, watching them come together in the way that you did in this episode was really quite touching, actually. Like, it was really quite touching. We see Clark build the Fortress of Solitude, basically. We see him meet his dad for the first time. We see him running. We see him flying. We see him flying home. His mother giving him his first suit. We see him saving someone for the first time. Very Christopher Reeves-esque doing all of that. We see him meeting Lois for the first time. We see him working with Lois. And it's just so well done, but it was so touching. We see him being interviewed by Lois for the first time. And then him learning by eavesdropping that Lois loves Clark. Loves him. We see Lois meeting his mum for the first time and him going, I'm going to show you who I am. And he does, and that was really well shot. This is where you can see that it's HBO or HBO Max. Him hovering there in the sky. Just very, very well shot. Cinematography is really, really good on this show. But then we see him come to learn that he's going to be a dad. We see the element of, the twins are going to be born. And then we can see something's not quite right because his dad said get out of here or something like that, right? And we see it a few times with this weird apparition. I know it's Morgan Age. It's Morgan Age. Morgan Age is there. Sifting through his memories to learn everything about him. To grind him down into the dirt. To make him submit to him. And that was epic. Because then Morgan Age beats the living crap out of Superman. Which makes perfect sense because he is more powerful than Morgan Age normally. But he's just done the solar flare. So he's weakened at this point. Beats the living crap out of him. Oh, where does Morgan Age then go? Well, he drops down to see Lois, Jonathan, Jordan. And he's like, hiya. So, there's no way to speak to the family. And then obviously threatens him. Superman comes down, tries to save the day. But then Morgan Age is like, well, you must submit to me. You must pledge your allegiance. And then he takes him away to his own fortress. Where he is basically his own fortress of solitude in the desert. Where his dad is there. And there's a good sort of juxtaposition between the two of them. Like the sort of the duality between the two of them. One was raised by clearly a loving, caring person. The other was clearly raised by an evil dipshit of a hologram arsehole. And you can see it. And I don't care how cheesy it was. It just worked. It was really, really well done. You see the origin of both of them. And then we're left at the end where Superman is being... like the pain, the weakness is being purged out of him by some massive hot beam. And his eyes are glowing red. And then Lois calls up her dad and goes, it's happening. Just as you said it would. He's turned. And we're like, oh shit. What's going to happen from here? Honestly, I'm really looking forward to the next episode. It's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting to see where this goes. I reckon Steel will make another appearance. Has to make another appearance. John Henry Irons. Steel will definitely come back, which makes sense because I think maybe a lot of people were a bit annoyed. They set up Steel, but he didn't turn up for the battle with the Kryptonians. I think he'll turn up for this final one. I think he'll actually be the reason why Superman turns good again. There'll be something that he says, something about the love for Lois Lane. Because obviously John Henry Irons in his universe loved Lois Lane, so on and so forth. I think that'll be how it's done, and I think that'll be quite smart. I love it. I love this show. It's so good. This is the best DC show, or the best DC stuff at the moment. Pisses all over everything else. So let me know what you think down below. If you watched this episode, give the video a like, and please do share it. Get more people watching this show. It's really, really good. You won't be disappointed. I say it every single time. You actually won't be disappointed. And people are forever commenting, going, oh, you told me to watch it. And actually, I was really surprised. You won't be disappointed. Cheers, guys. Take care.